Poppy, baby.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's Positive Poppy, baby. And this podcast is brought to you by Solid Coffee, based in Bellflower, Artesia, California. I am sitting with artist and design director, Mr. Darien Birks. How you doing,
How's it going, man? How you doing, man? Good. Glad to be on here. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for hopping on, bro. This is exciting, man.
Yeah,
I love your work. Big fan.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm still learning and trying to get better every day. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, aren't we all? That's the beauty of this stuff, man.
That is the beauty. You never lose that curiosity.
Right. I think one thing that really speaks out to me with your work is your color palette, and that's actually one of like my questions is, what's your favorite color and why?
Wow, that's a tough one, man. I would say it changes if that's fair.
Yeah.
I think it depends on like how I feel at the time. I'm very I'm kind of an instinctive type person, so like I go with like what I'm feeling at that moment. But I would say commonly maybe blue.
Okay.
Blue is sort of optimistic. I love the water. You know, I'm a water sign. Like the blue kind of works with everything.
There we go.
I mean, it's not neutral, but it almost functions as a neutral. So
I respect
that's
that.
how I see it. That's how I see it, man.
I love it. What's one word to describe yourself and why?
Oh man.
All right.
I would say I'm an eclectic individual, maybe. You know, not just in terms of music, obviously. In terms of everything, I kind of give everything a chance. You know what I mean? And explore it a little bit. I'm into a lot of different types of things. Whether I speak about them or not, I'm kind of one of those people behind the scenes, always digging, always looking for the next thing to kind of spark an idea. Maybe I say an eclectic. And I definitely gravitate towards more eclectic individuals as well. So.
Man, I feel that. I think before we even dive into anything like more about career and stuff, I just got to ask you on like human level, bro. How are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing fine, man. Thanks for asking that question. It's everybody's going through something right now, whether it be the state of the world, you know, those civil issues that are going right now in the world. There's something. Family, friends. So I personally am doing fine. The people around me are doing fine. Just taking it a day at a time, man. Feeling good, trying to make the best out of every situation. How about yourself?
Man, honestly, I feel like the way you phrased it is pretty solid. You know, it's like I think that's the same for me. Is it's like it's exhausting.
Yeah.
but I'm honestly I'm blessed.
Yes.
You know, like
yes.
There's not much I can complain about except, you know, the obvious. But
exactly. And I think even with that, I was talking to friends, and it's almost like you try to learn from all of this, and you almost try to like, all right, well, how can we come out better on the other side?
Right.
Like, I think like trying to approach not just life, but all situations like with that kind of outcome, it's like it's tough right now. Let's just be completely honest about it. It's tough right now. But how are we going to come out on the other side? I want to come out better for it, I feel like.
Right.
So, you know, while we're in the current state that we're in, it's just like try to do the right things for yourself, project that onto other people around you.
Oh, it's so real. And that's kind of like the way that I'm approaching everything right now. That was my phone. All right. The way that I'm approaching things right now is like I had the realization that it's like I'm trying to be positive throughout this, not like in a blind way, but the best way like I was able to finally metaphorically explain it is in war there are medics helping heal the wounded soldiers in the battle, right? And so I feel like within this Black war that we're in, this civil war we're in, that's where I come into play. I'm here to help heal our wounded brothers and sisters through positivity and like just trying to like show them, help them and know that they're not alone instead of
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I love this resource that you've put together with your podcast and show is access to that for anyone if they want it. It's there. You know what I mean? And I think I was like, I I got to talk to this guy. He seems like he's like-minded. He's on the same page. You know, kind of wants to do the right thing and put the right type of energy out into the world.
Right, I'm trying, man, and it's like honestly, I was low key gonna call this episode off. I was like, maybe let's just try to do it tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
but I was like, you know what? No, like this is the shit right here. This is what people need. This is this is good. You know what I'm saying?
And it's our reality.
Right.
You know, we can feel.
There's no running.
There's no running from it. It's our reality. I think like no matter how we feel about it. You know, we can sit on it for a day or two or whatever it might be. It's the reality, and it might strike again tomorrow.
Right.
you never know.
Right.
So it's like I think any opportunity we can to talk about it. You know, depending on how deep you want to get in that, but you know, how you want to talk about it and how you deal with it. You know.
So real, bro. So real. Well, I'm glad we're blessed today, bro.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I want to talk to you about your art in general, like your stuff. It's like it's so dope because it looks cartoon, but like if cartoons were human, like real. Like.
You know, it's interesting because my girlfriend was just talking to me about that the other day. She said it almost looks like your stuff is hyper real or something. I'm just like, okay. I think. The thing is, at least the way I like to approach those illustrations, is I kind of approach it like how we are, right? We have like these two sides, or maybe even more. It's like what people see, and then how you actually feel. So with those animations, it's just like you kind of look at it, you're like, is it real? Is it not? What am I looking at? You know what I mean? So I kind of like to play in between those spaces, between like illustration and realism. Like this sort of idealism rather, and then realism. So it's fun, and it's actually just kind of organic. It's organic. It's for years, you know, I talked to my buddies about like trying to define a style. You know, as a creative yourself, I'm sure you know. Coming up, you're like, well, what's my style? You know, I love this guy, I love that guy, but like, what's my style? And you go through years of sort of imitation to kind of like, okay, well, let me see if I can master how this guy did that. Let me see if I can master how this guy did that. And then you get to a point where you almost have a happy accident and you stumble across like something that you really enjoy and that sort of comes naturally to you. You're like, okay, I think I finally found it. Or like if people start to tell you, well, that looks really cool. What about that? You're like, got it. I found it. I finally found it. Took years. And I'm still working on it, still developing it. But yeah, man, it's just this idea of like this idealism with like how I see things in my head versus how they really are. So sometimes it might lean more towards realism. Sometimes it leans more towards like this sort of animated vision of how I see things in my mind.
Right, dude. Yeah, that fully comes through for sure. So have you always been a sports fan, or is that just from Nike? From working with Nike?
I'm a sports guy. I'm super competitive. And everything I do, I was raised that way. I've always played sports. You know, I was a basketball, football, golf, you know, guy growing up. That was my thing. I played baseball a lot too. Like it was just, I love sports, man. I'm diehard. Obviously, basketball is my favorite sport. So to land after however many years, I was doing other things at Nike, but to land in Nike basketball, it was just like a dream come true. Working with the athletes that I love for the sport that I love. Right. I still play to this day, you know.
That's tight.
I like to go out and run now and things like that. So always trying to find something to stay active. I really wish I could play tennis. That's one thing I never learned how to do. That I really want to do. My best friend, he's like the tennis guy. You know,
tennis is creased. Yeah, that's wow. Like, my sister used to play tennis, like for like her high school team, and when I was younger, I'd like train with her.
Yeah,
bruh, no,
not for you.
I'm like, I got asthma. First off, you feel me? I don't got time for that back and forth.
I understand, man. I hear you. You know,
I'm more of a golf guy. Rugby. That's more my vibe.
Okay, yeah, rugby's kind of awesome. No, I only played it 1 or 2 times, but yeah, rugby's awesome, man. And I mean, sport is just like is beautiful. Like it brings people together. It's exercise. It makes you feel good. You know, you learn sort of the competitive nature
Right,
We live in a
right.
competitive world, whether we like it or not. This world is still competitive, man.
What's
Even if it's just being in competition with yourself, you know what I
right.
mean? Like to better yourself, you learn all of those things through sport. It just has a positive influence on people. I feel
Mm.
like, so I've always really been deep into sport.
I think what's really dope is everything that you just said right now comes through in your work. Like every piece you do, I look at it feels competitive, it feels passionate, and like it feels positive. Like the fact that you can embody that, and like it might be a mixture of color choice, but like
Mm-hmm.
or the way you angle things. But bro, like it truly comes through how you feel about sports, comes through in your art, and that's so dope.
Well, I really appreciate that, man. I think one thing about like art too is like how sometimes people are like searching for a thing. Well, what should I do? How should I?
Right.
I think sometimes it's really just like it's in here. Just go with like what you feel or what you know, and it's like what's true to your being. Like sometimes that'll just pour through the work if you rock with it that way. Sometimes it's a dud. I tell people all the time. There's more brain farts than people know. There's
Mm-hmm.
all types of crap work that as an artist you'll put out, but you're just like, all right, I got that idea. It doesn't look good, but it was within me, so I have to respect it. I
It's
have to get it
so
out.
real. He's got that's so real. He's got to get that shit out, bro.
You have to get it out. You know what I'm saying? And I think like uh, when you do that, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
But when it does, it's like okay, because that came from within me. I wasn't searching to try to do a particular thing. It was like that's what it is.
Mm,
You're inspired by the things around you,
that's
your
so
everyday
real.
life. You know what I mean? I just finished doing some stuff for a buddy of mine. He runs a gallery out here in Portland, and it was just about like he was like, all right, maybe just like a chat, like your everyday life after you left the company. I was like, all right, cool. So sometimes it might seem like, but that seems too like the easy thing to do, but
Right.
it actually isn't. It's actually tougher because now you're
Right.
like, all right, I'm on my own. I know what I want to do, but I don't want to do it the traditional way.
Right.
So you're exploring all these different things, and then you start to just create from what's around you. And then we've been stuck in
Mm,
the house, so right,
right.
we've been in quarantine.
Your
So like
box
that's
gets
even
smaller and
tougher.
smaller.
It gets smaller and smaller, but then you start to think, all right, well, what's something basic that I would never have done if I was stuck in the house? And
Mm,
you find yourself just
mm,
turning to everyday objects and everyday things. So yeah, it's been quite
bro.
interesting, but hopefully that answers your question about like I think whatever you're going through at a particular time, it's probably going to come through your work if you're one of those people that you create from your heart.
Right.
You
And I
know?
and I think that's the beauty of being a creative is that I feel like it's one of the hardest things to do because it's honestly the best creative comes from when you're being vulnerable.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like being vulnerable is terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Particularly for creatives.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? Particularly for creatives. Like where do you usually draw that inspiration from? Like when you get down to work on things and when you attack something, like where does that come from for you?
I think for me, like one, it just comes from mindless staring at things. It's
Okay.
like oddly enough, driving for me it's like at nighttime. I'll get in my
Interesting.
car and just hit the freeway, windows down, music
Yeah.
going. But
Yeah.
normally it's like a song on repeat, so I don't think about it. And then
Right.
I just find my brain just like hitting hella tangents. It's like a
Like
pinball machine.
so it's like an aimless drive.
Exactly. I
Just
hop on the 91 to the 105 and just circle this loops.
well, that's did you just say a pinball machine?
Yes.
So that's interesting. I was having this conversation, and one of the questions was, if your mind was an object, what would it be? And it's funny that you said a pinball machine
Did you
because
say that?
I told that person a pinball because I was like my thoughts, like when I'm thinking and creating, I'm
Bro,
all over the
right.
place. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's
Like a
one of the
pinball,
best
like
feelings when you get to
everywhere.
that point and it's like
Yeah.
and you feel it, you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
Absolutely. And then eventually it stops and settles on a thing, and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
now I have to execute that. It's like a gift and a curse.
Right.
It'll keep you up late at night or make you wake up early in the morning and get it out of your system. But
Oh
once you
yeah,
get it out,
dude.
it's just like, but that's so interesting. So like, so
Yeah,
would
for
you
me,
say if it was an object, that's what it would be? Okay.
100%. 100%. For me, I found out like if I So when I hit that moment of pinballing,
yeah,
and so I'll hit one idea, and if I write it down, then it keeps going.
Yeah.
So then I leave this experience with like, I love how I'm calling it an experience. Like it's like whatever, but
it's an experience. It truly is, right? It's a part of your process indirectly.
Exactly.
Maybe even directly if you intend, like, you know what, I'm gonna get in the car, I'm gonna clear my head, I'm gonna see what comes back.
Exactly, bro. I left alone, came back with some luggage.
See, and that's a good thing. I think those drives, like even now during quarantine, it's the perfect time to get in the car and just aimlessly drive. Like, look at things. The streets are a little more empty. You know what I mean? Like,
you can see stuff.
You can see things. You can appreciate the nature. It's like, it's as clear as your mind is.
So real.
Those drives are so necessary now. Like, we do it regularly.
What's your process like for you?
That's one of them, actually. Surprising that you said that. One of them is to just get in the car, aimlessly drive. Like, I walk out of here with no idea and come back with several.
Right,
like,
bro.
Okay, now I have to do this. I would say that. I would say it might be from conversation. Something might come out of this conversation where I'm like, oh, now I got an idea what I could do. So I would say conversations with friends, tough times, like failures, going through things, sport. It could be anything. It could be a movie, a magazine. Oh, I like to dig I collect records, so sometimes I'll go to a record store. I'm usually there for 2.5, 3 hours. The photography, inspiring. The typography, inspiring. Sometimes
that's true, actually.
It might be these tactile things in the gatefold. You might have like a debossing or an embossing or a dot cut or something in there.
Right.
The texture of the paper, like all of these things can inspire you. Cooking food, reading, like anything. I'm inspired by so much exercise. Going for walks. Just the other day I went to walk for just like a juice in the neighborhood, and like along that walk I might see a pattern or a texture that's like, or a color. And I'm like, I gotta apply that to some work, So I'll take out my phone and snap a quick picture. So I remember what it looks like. All types of things, man. And how can I reinterpret this thing that I just saw? Or I might hear a conversation. You know what I mean?
Bro, we are like the same brain, dog. Like, I've always said, because like my main medium's photography and like video. And so I've always said that when I look at things, I don't see them as things. I see them as photos.
Oh, interesting.
It's like I don't know if it's like a condition or a brain thing, but like when I look at things, I look at them and I analyze it as like how I would composite it. And then it's like, and then I'm like, okay, that's dope. But it gets tiring because I forget sometimes what it feels like to just like casually be staring at nothing, just like look at something and not look at it like a movie scene or a photo idea.
That's because you're locked in for life, man. There's nothing you can do about it. You're locked in for life. I was talking to somebody the other day. I think creatives don't retire. You know how people say like, oh, what are you gonna do when you retire? What's your retirement plan? And I'm like,
bro, message.
Like, I'm gonna die doing work. Like, we don't have the type of careers that lend themselves to being done at a certain age. You're gonna be directing for the rest of your life. You're gonna be taking pictures for the rest of your life.
Like, bring me the camera.
You know what I mean? Taking like every picture coming back like blurry, but it's gonna be in style. It's gonna be crazy.
Right.
A happy accident. You know what I mean?
Bro, that's hilarious.
Keep that shutter open. Just like
shout out to those old creatives.
You know what I'm saying?
We right behind you.
Bill Cunningham, he was doing it till he died. Riding around New York City with that camera, man.
Right.
Those. It's a gift and a curse. I always like to say that because you're stuck with it. Even when you don't feel like working, you're working.
Mm-hmm.
You might be out
because you're having that internal battle.
Yeah, it's that internal battle. You're out with family and friends, and they're having a good time, and you're like looking at things like, I think I can. I'm inspired by this. Let me remember that. Like, you're not always there in the room with everybody else.
It's so real, bro. It's hard to be present.
You
And
know.
I think one advice that I got from a guest on the show actually is right here, right now. If you just tell yourself that's what's important,
Yeah.
like that's helped me because I have 2 kids and a wife, so it's like telling myself that when I feel myself going on mental tangents with everybody around, I feel like, okay, I'm right here, right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with
Being
my family.
Yeah, being present. I feel you. I'm gonna tell you, I have to turn it off. Like, do you feel like you have to like hit a switch? I literally have to hit a switch. You know, like
So
sometimes I go a little too deep into my thinking on something I might want to execute, and the people that are with me a lot of times they're just like, "Yo, D, come back,
right,
come back with us."
Bro. And then honestly, if I smoke, it's a wrap. I'm hyper focused to the 10th power. Just like somebody could be talking to me for an hour, and I'll be like, "Oh, we're talking to me." Sorry, I was thinking about this idea for a short film in my head.
Yeah, see. And how do you usually attack those ideas? Do you write down, or do you just all keep it stored in and just like work with somebody to help you storyboard, or do you do all that?
Yeah, no. So before I would literally just keep it in my head and have thousands of ideas.
Yeah.
But then my good friend Will, he was like, "Bro, what are you doing? Like, you have so many ideas. Like, and have you wrote anything down?" And then another friend of mine, Marvin. He's like, same thing. And I'm like, oh, if everybody's asking me about writing stuff down, maybe I should start doing that.
Yeah.
So then that's when I started.
If that's how you work. If that's how you work. Maybe
well,
you don't
no,
work.
yeah.
Maybe you can just...
I tried, and like it was fine, but I was just not executing. And what I found out is like for me to like my notes, bro, on my iPhone, just scrolling so many, like I have a folder called ideas, and I just like there's so many in there.
Yeah.
And I found like through putting it on paper, that's one more step closer to it becoming real.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think that goes for creative ideas in life as well. You put it on paper, you almost hold yourself to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. And like even with that, like then I go from just putting the idea, the concept, and then I go into, okay, how would it be executed? How can I make this happen? I can hit up so and so for this, and then plug this with this, then have them connect. And I really start like building out a full deck eventually. And that's what I've been really working on through this quarantine is taking my personal projects as serious as I take these corporate projects.
You should.
Right.
You
but
should,
I feel so many creatives don't, dude.
You know, I think the reason for that too is like it's comfort. You know, like the corporate escape sort of provides you with a level of comfort that you put everything into that because it's like, well, this is what afford me to live my lifestyle. You know, it's afford me to do the things I need to do. And you almost put yourself on the back burner and you put your own ideas like into the secondary, tertiary category while prioritizing, you know, that corporate agenda. And, you know, I mean, I get it, to each his own. Some people don't want to like attack their personal, you know, ventures, you know, like that with that kind of vigor. But for me, I think you have to pay attention to that. You have to be cognizant of that and figure out how to like, all right, if you're going to do both, but do them at the same level. But at the same time, like, you elevate yourself a little bit more because the company's always going to elevate themselves above the employee. That's just the way
real.
They can love you to death, but the company is going about that company first. And never forget that. So you always have to be about yourself first.
Message.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not even a selfish thing. It's a real thing.
It's real.
That's what it is.
It's called just being smart.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't want your chop, right? You don't want to lose your chop.
Right.
Shopping at somebody else's. So
it's so real because they'll replace you in a second.
Yeah, they'll replace you in a second when they decide to. So I think like, you know, I mean, we've seen it all the time. You know, I was in corporate America. I saw it all the time. You know, when things needed to be what the company wanted them to be.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what the staff thinks. Like, it's about that company person. And I get it. That's what it is. It's
business.
It's business.
But that, and I think that goes where it's like, if you want to be taken as a serious creative, then it's business. You got to handle it like business.
You have to handle it like business, and you have to be business minded about yourself as well, because you
right.
know it's very, like you said, it's very easy to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just kind of doing this thing, you know, just
Right.
whatever. And if you treat it like that,
I'm
so is
just
someone else.
doodling.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, like brand yourself,
Yep.
and not to be seen as a particular type of thing, but because that's what you should be doing.
Right.
Like that's what you should be doing. So
that's so real. I think that's the hardest thing is for creatives to figure out how to brand themselves, you know,
because they lose their identity in the company.
There's that, but there's also, I feel like creatives are afraid of being put in a box, so they don't go into anything. they just float.
True. Some like just like it's like fight or flight. Right. But I think like it's like fight and learn it. It's nothing's easy and nothing. You know, you don't learn anything. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to learn everything right away. You know, we're all going to be learning until we die. You know, not to be on a negative note, but I tell people all the time, we're all gonna. If you're a curious creative, you're gonna die unhappy, unfulfilled, because you never will feel like you reached your full potential if you have this constant curiosity and this constant want and need to grow every day. And you know, it's just, you're always gonna feel like anything you did, you could have did it better. You know what I mean? It's like the next time I do this, I'm gonna do it better. The next time I do this, I'm gonna do. So you're gonna die like I didn't do my best. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't do my best yet.
Yo, it's so real. Right. I think that's what creatives need to hear too. Is like, you just got to do it. Like stop second guessing yourself. Just fucking do it. And honestly, what I wanted to point out was how you were talking about like, you have to get to like the crap ideas. It's like the brain farts and shit. Yeah. But that's like, you can't take yourself serious. Like,
and it's a part of the process, right?
Right.
Like I'm sure you got to where you were through like being relentless. Like you just didn't give me like, I want to learn this. I want to, and we all make our mistakes along the way, but that's how you get better. Like that's how you get better. Like I think sometimes people look at social media and they look at all these different outlets that are out there for kids now. And they say, well, you know, they want to take the elevator and not the staircase. And they want to get right to the end. They want to get right to the end goal, which is like, I want to be a creative director. I'm like, did you finish college yet? You know, like you can get there, but you got to work there. You got to put in the work to get there. Like it's not easy, and nobody got to where they were overnight. They might just be showing you the end result, but people had to crawl before they walk. You know, and so I try to tell people all the time, like, take the stairs. It's better for you. You learn that way. You really learn that way.
You grow. You know, like my favorite metaphor is like how like when you're building muscle, the only way to build that muscle is by tearing it apart. Yes.
And when I was in Nike training, I learned that one. You got to tear muscles to grow new ones. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, so talk to me. How is it working at Nike? Like that's like everybody's dream, bro.
You know what? It was definitely a dream, and it's funny because everybody I grew up with, from like I went to a K through 8 performing arts school growing up.
Oh, right.
And so like even people from back then, they see me now, and they're like this is crazy that you ended up at Nike. They were like, I remember we would turn in papers. And in the margin of my papers, I would like be drawing like little Nikes and shoes and things like that.
Amazing.
In the margins of the paper. And they were just like, the fact that you actually work there now. This is like people that went to elementary school to middle school, to high school people. They're like, Darien, it's crazy. So honestly, I would definitely say it was a blessing. You know what I mean? I was very fortunate to have gotten the job to work there. It's a great company. It had these things about it, like any company that
exactly. Right.
And you talk about a big corporation like that. Obviously, there's going to be things that hold hands with everybody going. But I learned a ton. I met so many great people, so many great inspirational people. Resources were like endless. Like any idea you had, like you have to fight for them a lot of times. But, you know, if you get the right ears and you learn how to sell your work through, like that's one of the things too that I can say is just like learning how to sell your ideas in. Oftentimes as creators, we know how to work for ourselves, right? We know how to do things and for our friends and for people out in the world. But like, what about at a corporation? Can you sell a $1 million idea? You know, for $1 billion company, can you sell that in to people who are just waiting to hear what you have to say? And everything has to be. You know, Nike is the biggest sports brand in the world. So everything has to be at a high level. The bar is set so high every time you do something, man. Like, I don't think people understand. And you swimming with sharks in that company.
It's just all sharks.
Hey, look, you're swimming in shark-infested waters when you're working there, but you're better for it, man.
Right.
The relationships that you build there, the networking. I mean, just incredible place to be. I think when you feel like your time there is up, like I felt, you step away, but you don't.
Yeah.
You don't step away with any bad blood or bad blood. I have lifelong friends, people that
That's tight.
Still connect with. I mean, it was tough for me to walk away from there. It was
right.
It was bittersweet.
Right. I feel that though. I think that's dope for you to, as a creative, to. Can you hear my son in the background? I don't know.
Just a little bit, but barely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So this is all side note. My podcast is very raw, so like
that's cool. I prefer that, man. That's good.
Perfect. Yeah. But I was saying, like, as a creative, like, to be able to walk away from like that comfort and like that, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like that, like that brand.
Yeah.
Like that's dope, bro. Like, that says a lot about you as a person and how comfortable you are with yourself as an artist.
I appreciate that, man. And again, like I was in the midst of like just doing really well there too, like really, collaborating with people and working as a team to create these really great projects. And it was on a high note. Like, I walked out on a high note. So a lot of people are like, well, why are you leaving? But I think like you have to know for yourself, and you have to believe in yourself. That's one of the things that I tell people: don't let a brand or anything else like dictate your work. That's up to you to do. That's up for you.
Right.
When you Nike played a very significant part in my growth as a creative, but it doesn't define me as a man or as a creative at all. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be one of those people that allows it to define you. Because that's when you get lost in the sauce, as I like to say. Like, for me,
all up in that ragu.
Yeah, you know what I mean? All up in that, man. Swimming. So you gotta just like take a step back and be like, all right, well, what else was I put here for? That part of my journey was amazing. Man. But what's next? There's still a lot of life left, still a lot of exploration in the creative realm for me. So I'm really excited to kind of get back out there. Another thing too, when you work at Nike, the one thing I'll say for anybody who sees this is like, you can absolutely get there, but don't wait for like a handout, or don't wait for like the hookup. Like, put your work in. Put your work in, because when you get there, you're gonna have to be put to the test and actually prove your worth there. Like, it's not the type of company you can just kind of slide under the radar in the creative department. In the advertising world, there you have to show and prove, or you'll stick out like a sore thumb, because there's a lot of talented individuals that work there, and all of them work on one floor together. I work with a lot of talented people. You want to be the best. You want to stand out amongst that group. You know what I mean? And do great work for the consumer that you're serving. But like, put the work in, because a lot of people don't think they can get there, and you absolutely can. But it's like, put the work in and make them notice you.
Amen.
Make them notice you.
Oof, message. My guy, you're jumping. Hit him with them gems, dog.
Body it, man. I'm all about that. I'm all about like no mercy, man. Like,
I feel it.
If you're gonna go in and kill it, go in and kill it.
Right. So like, how does it work? Because Nike also works with Wieden and Kennedy too, right? And like other agencies.
Yeah.
So like, within the creative department, are you guys working on your own things, or do you guys work with the agencies? Like, how does that work?
So yeah, it's interesting. In my particular department, which was the brand design function, which is marketing and advertising, there's a spectrum, and I think that's what I liked about that department, as opposed to like strictly being in footwear, which is awesome, or strictly being in like on another type of team. The thing about working in advertising is you get to work with everything. So with some projects, you're more hands-on. With some projects, you might just be the brain power and the facilitator that partners with the Wieden or with any other type of agency of your choosing that fit the type of work that you're trying to execute against. If you're doing something that requires CG, maybe you want to work with some of the best CG artists in the world you can
casual. That's so tight, bro.
You just reach out. But at the end of the day, I think what a lot of people sometimes misconstrue is that you pass that work off and it's done. It's like, even if you were, I didn't personally work with Wyden a lot, but the people that did, it's like, you have to come in with the idea. You have to come in and lay that. Like, I think for some projects, they may pitch it to Wyden and come back with an idea, or whatever agency that works with. The way I work, I can speak for the way I work. The way I work,
right.
If I'm going to hire someone as a vendor to work with me, the idea has to be mine in collaboration with them, of course. But you never just pass something off to somebody's plate. Well, I hope it comes back good. It's like, no,
figure it out.
We're gonna work together to craft an idea. You know, if I were to bring you in on a project, I would give you anywhere from a 5 to 10 page brief, and then you would come back and say, "Oh, that's cool." And then here's how I can apply what I do to those ideas. And then we collaborate, and then we work as a team. So it's like some projects kind of work like that. Some you just have to get down and dirty and do it all yourself. I think I have been in the industry long enough, so you know, at a certain point, you're sort of directing everything. You kind of become a director. Like, all right, here's the ideas. Here's how it needs to look and feel. Here's who we need to bring in to work on this to make it the best project that it can be. Sometimes you got to get in there and get your hands dirty. Like, if the work's not getting done right, then all right, let me show you that I can still do this real quick. You know? Hit 'em with it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the things about Nike that was awesome. I mean, you could be working from retail to building environments to planning events to big marketing campaigns that go out to the world to video to, I mean, illustration. It was everything. I literally got to do everything. I got to work on some products while I was there. So tight, dude. Some apparel. So it's been really good.
Do you have one favorite thing you worked on there? One piece or the thing that you're just like, fuck, that's my favorite thing.
You know what? This might be surprising to people who know me and see this, but I would say my favorite project was probably when we launched the Nike by NBA partnership. And I say that because the project was so expansive. Like, we did everything. Like, when I say anything you can think of, we did. There was video, there was print, there was photography, there was, you know, events, retail. I mean, the presentations for that were, we built a room when we sold the work in, and we had to, you know, sell this idea that it wasn't just about, you know, Nike and NBA coming together. It was about this apparel deal and how we were trying to take, you know, uniforms and make it not just about like fan culture, but bring it actually into like people's lifestyle. If you're, you know,
that's tight.
Jerseys were kind of a lifestyle thing as well, and it was like, all right, how can we make this cool again? So there was that. There was a lifestyle aspect to it. There was a sport aspect to it. We did a huge photo shoot where we shot 24 athletes in 2 days down in California. You got to partner with some amazing photographers and writers. And, you know, I'm so proud of that work because
that's tight.
It wasn't just it was performance, but then it was also like a lifestyle play. And when we brought those two worlds together seamlessly, it was amazing. And then the team that I worked with on that, like, we had a strong team that year. Like, everybody was putting in work. Like, everybody was.
That's tight.
I lost 5 or 10 years of my life grinding on that NBA launch, but I became a better employee for it and a better creator for it. Like, the marketing side was strong. Like, me and my creative director Mike, like, we went so hard. Who were some of the other people? Oh my God, my boy Everett and Colin. Like, we just jammed so hard on that project together. It even made us, like, it brought us closer as
that's
people.
Tight.
Like, it brought as friends.
Hey, that could do it. That could do it.
Oh, we were in the trenches, man, putting in work. I'm talking about putting in work. But I'd say the NBA project, you know, and then also because I'm such a basketball fan, like, that was almost like a dream come true. Like, I launched the NBA with Nike basketball. Two brands that I've loved my entire life.
Right.
I never would have thought I'd been able to do that. So to have that in my portfolio, my book.
Right. Shout out.
I thank God for that one, because you can't even plan that.
Right. You could try, but that right there, that's a divine intervention.
Totally.
Shout out to God. Blessings.
Absolutely, all day.
Man, so what's next for you?
Next, you know, so I'm embarking upon this journey of trying to build up my brand as an illustrator a little bit more, because when I was at Nike, I couldn't fully immerse myself in that side of the world. I would just dad. which
Right.
I had no time then. So I was like getting up at 3 a.m. and working until 6:30 on my own stuff. Maybe sleep for another hour and then get up and then go into the office and repeat.
Wait, hold up. So you would wake up early to do your personal work.
Yes.
And then go do work.
And then go
3 a.m.
Yeah, and then go work at Nike afterwards.
That right there is why you are where you're at, bro. That's that shit right there. Remember, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the conversation. Where like, if you have that idea, and you like, I have to execute it. There's nothing else. So I'm like, all right, well, at 3 a.m., nobody's on Instagram, nobody's gonna call me, nobody's gonna text me. I can get up and just work and like be free. It's quiet, it's dark outside. I'm like, all right, let me just jam, do what I gotta do, then go back to sleep, then wake up, then go do the corporate thing. And I never cheat my craft. When I was working at Nike or any other job that I had prior to that, it always gets 110% of me. Almost to my fault sometimes. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, man. I mean, sometimes that's what you have to do. If you want to perfect your craft, you have to make yourself uncomfortable. And getting up at 3 a.m. just to do things, it was uncomfortable, but I enjoyed it. I would start working and be like, okay. And it felt like nothing that I was doing at my day job.
Right.
It
feels like a whole different world.
It is a whole different world, and you need those. You need to separate the two. I feel like.
For sure.
So I would say like building my illustration brand up a little bit more, and then also just working as an independent design director for different brands. Everything I learned at Nike, I want to take that with me, and then partner with different brands now as an individual and bring those ideas, because I can sort of pick and choose my projects that way.
Right.
Like, okay, I can work in sports. I can work in fashion. I can do all these different things. I want to spread my wings a little bit more like that. So I want to work as a vendor in that regard. I don't know if you noticed, but me and my buddy Alan Cole, we make music under the moniker Establishment as producers. We're not rappers or anything like that, but we.
I know that's tight, bro. Wait, so you do music too?
We were, so me and my buddy Alan, we have that project going on, and that's just a labor of love. Like we do all of our own design. We source like our music, and it's all mostly sample based. So we collect records, and then we sample these records, and then we put out instrumental albums. So
bro?
So we want to build that and maybe get more into like movie scores and like things like that.
We should collab on something, dog.
Oh, really? You absolutely,
bro. Whether something,
if you're doing films. If you're doing films, you need to reach out to us, because I mean, right now that's kind of some of the stuff we're trying to get more into. It's not necessarily just about like, oh, let's work with like artists. It's like, let's work with people making films. Like let's make soundscapes. Let's do like visual sound. Pair that up with videos that we make and things like that. So the music side, we want to push that part of like what we're doing a lot more, because we both had day jobs. But that was just like our side passion. And then I want to speak a little bit more, like kind of what you're doing. I think I want to go to like middle schools and high schools and speak to young creators that really don't know what they want to do with their career or where they want to take their creative energy. If I could speak to them a little bit about my journey, because I had nobody to speak or coach me through it as a youngster.
Right.
So like just to kind of be there to say, hey, you can do this too. You can be cool. You can still be yourself and maintain your identity throughout.
So
trying to pursue a corporate career. So
that's tight, bro. So what has your journey been like, if you don't mind me asking, man?
It's been interesting. It's been so like I said, I started at that performance art school K through 8, and then interesting story. when I got to the 8th grade, and this is one of the things that actually like helped me like work really hard. When I was in the 8th grade, I didn't turn in my permission slip to join the specific art class that I needed to join when I was getting to a particular part of that year. And I thought that, because I was one of their, better students, that they would like let me slide and like, oh yeah, my permission was late, but I still got it done.
Right.
And they were like, no, like this is a late lesson. The class is full. So I was like, okay, interesting. So nothing else was available. So I had to join the course. This is something that I wanted nothing to do with. I had to join the course, and joining that course made my portfolio suffer. So when I went to go interview to get into to the performing arts high school, I didn't get in because they were like, well, it looks like you didn't get this art credit. It looks like you switched over to music. And I'm like, Well, so I tried to explain it or whatever. Went through the whole process.
Dang.
Long story short, didn't get into that performing arts school. Didn't get into the performing arts high school and went to just a regular public high school, you know. And they really didn't have any program. They didn't have any program at all. So I actually was set back because of myself being late without permission.
Wow.
Not being on it. You know what I mean? Not being on it and thinking that people will make an exception for me. Not the case. So I go through the whole high school deal, not really even doing art. At that point, I was just focused on my sports.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
I was just focused on my sports, and I had stepped away from art for years. And I had a professor. I had a teacher in high school who taught art, but not at a high level. It was just like, you know, everyday art classes that you got.
Here's a circle. Draw the vase.
you know what I mean? And it was like simple stuff, but he saw that like I would really get into it with everybody else was just like kind of clowning around. They didn't take art seriously. And so he reached out to me. He said, "Hey, look, man, there's like 2 or 3 students after school." He's like, "I bring out like the good supplies, and like you can really like work on like a portfolio."
That's tight.
Like, and I was like, "The good supplies," and you know, so yeah, paints and all these different pencils and all of the they broke out all of this good stuff. I was like, "Where is this?" You know, at 11 o'clock in the day. So, you know, I started going to that, and from that, I got to build up a little bit more of a little portfolio. And he said, "You should really look into this school, the Savannah College of Art and Design." And I said, I didn't even know art school was a thing at all.
Right.
I said, all right, I'll check it out, you know, because at this point, I was probably going to end up at like, you know, Clark, Atlanta, or, you know, where else did I have? Well, I was playing in Maryland or somewhere like that. I can't remember. It was a while ago. But I looked into this art school and I was like blown away. I was like, wow, I can do animation, I can do video, I can do photography, I can do all of these things that I wanted to do. So I ended up getting into Savannah College of Art and Design for animation.
Tight.
Started out in animation.
Okay.
Didn't like it. I was like, I don't know if this is exactly what I want to do when I got here. So you got to take you have to take like your foundational courses, and then I got to a point where I said, okay, I'm gonna work in product design. I want to work at Nike. I want to work on footwear. You know.
Right.
So I got into the product design course. Wasn't good at it. Was like, and it's because I didn't love it. It was like, we're not designing shoes. We're designing vegetable peelers and handheld vacuum cleaners and things that I didn't care about. I was like, I like to work on things I care about. So if I don't care about it, it's tough for me to really put my heart into it. So I'm working on all of these things and I just wasn't feeling it. And one day, so while we had these product design classes, you would have presentations that you would have to turn in and, you know, and one of my professors, she stopped me and she was like, can you talk to me real quick, y'all? So we go in there and she's like, I think you might want to switch to graphic design. And I was like, I don't want to design logos. I don't want to, you know, that's all I thought it was back then. I was like, I don't want to design logos. She was like, no, like when you turn in your presentation, she was like, your presentations are better than your product design. She was like, the way you lay it out, the way you design it, the way your information flows. She was like, you have the best presentations in my class and the worst projects. And I said,
damn.
Oh, they keep it 100 at art school, just so you know. So I was like, okay, that's kind of harsh, but all right. And because I knew within myself, I was like, I don't love this either. In the back of my mind, like, I don't love this either. Mm-hmm. So I switched over to graphic design. Nico, it changed my life. Like, it changed my life, dude. Like, it was the best thing that she could have said to me. If she never said that, who knows where I would have ended up.
Right.
I switched over to the graphic design department when I was in SCAD, and I became an animal.
Man.
Like literally became an animal. I went so hard to try to become good at it because I fell in love with what I was doing. I found myself working and doing homework, giving myself homework assignments outside of the actual school homework.
Dang.
So, did my thing there at SCAD and graduated. I said, the more you get into graphic design, the more you realize I have to go to New York. I have to go to New York or I have to go to Los Angeles to be amongst the best graphic designers and creators.
Right.
So I graduated. I went to New York. Loved New York City. I worked in New York City at a firm for maybe like the first 5 years that I was there. Then I switched over and started sort of working for myself and, you know, learning and growing throughout that. That process was a great growing process because, you know, I put in the work. I stayed late. There were nights I spent the day at my job. Like people would come in having the same clothes. Like, Darren, did you go home? I'm like, No, because I was 22, 23, trying to learn about what I was doing, trying to become better at it. And I think, the beauty is in the journey. I think we have to take note of that a lot of times. It's like the beauty is in the journey. Sometimes it's painful, right? But that means you're learning. If you're uncomfortable, that means you're learning something.
Right.
So, I learned I had a really great creative director. I have to shout her out, Christina Antonopoulos. Like this woman.
Shout out right here.
This woman was amazing and instrumental in crafting me. I think she saw something in me and she was so hard on me. But by the time she was done with me, I was like cutthroat. I was ready to get after anything that was put in front of me.
Everybody's getting smoke.
you know what I'm saying? You learn how to work efficiently.
Right.
And like Christina Antonopoulos and David Kohler at that company, those two, like I think they really saw something in me and they really pushed me. And so I appreciate them. And that experience shaped and molded everything, because then you can start to see, all right, this is kind of what I want to be as a professional, right? And then what's the next thing for me? So then you freelance. After that, I left and started freelance a bit. And during the freelance, a buddy that went to school with me went to Nike and was looking for vendors for some projects. And he said, my buddy Travis, who is another great creative, and he said, you should submit your work. And I was like, all right, cool. But I wasn't thinking about ever working at Nike. I was like, all right, cool. I'll send them my stuff. And he was like, all right, they really like your stuff, so we'll continue working on this project. So I was like, all right, cool. So I was working on the project with him for a while, and then it became like, okay, this is going well. We got another project for you. And I'm like, all right. But I was in New York, freelance, doing my own thing. I was at different agencies, kind of like really like opening up the aperture a little bit, making my connections out there.
Right.
And it was going well. I was like, so then Nike's like, hey, we're gonna fly you out here. We want to meet you. We've been working with you, and we think your stuff's pretty cool. And Travis keeps saying good things about you. We want to meet you. So they flew me out there for like a week. I met with some people, and it was kind of intimidating, because when you get there, I thought I was just going to sort of meet the teams and check out the campus and all these things.
Right.
But when you get there, there's this itinerary and a recruiter. Like, so here's your day. You're gonna meet with the global head of, and I'm like, whoa, what? Like, I mean, with who? Like, they didn't position it as that at first. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I went through the process. You sit in front of like these panels and you get interviewed and you have dialogue and you see they see where you're at, you see where they're at. I feel like I interviewed them just as much as they interviewed me. Because I wanted to know, I was enjoying New York. I was like, why do I want to come out here? So
right.
It was good, and it took me a while. And then I met with another guy in a sort of a follow-up interview, and he came to New York. And his name is Jason Murphy, and he was one of the guys that was also influential in my career, because he was right there at the tipping point of me making that decision. And when I met with him and saw his vibe and how he liked to work, how he liked to do things, and where he was coming from,
right?
That was, he's definitely one of the people that helped turn the key. And I'm definitely forever grateful for him for that, because then he brought me in. He was the guy who decided, I want this guy on my team. So me and him jammed it out, and then got to Nike. Started out in Nike football, and then worked my way through, baseball and men's training, and
dang, bro,
on the basketball, and worked on several different things, and it was just incredible, man. Like, let me just shout out a few people there.
All right, we ready.
I shouted out Jason Murphy. Now I have to shout out Jason Herkert, because he was one who helped me with that transition when I stopped working with Murphy and I started working with Herkert, and then he helped me learn a lot of things about the business. And then Michael Sportjeric, who that's the guy I worked with when I was in Nike basketball. He pulled me off for the team I was on in Nike basketball. So just like some of my creative directors there that really were pivotal in helping me grow as a person, as well as a creative and a professional. All three different.
So important.
They're all different, all three of them, but they all brought something in. And it's about life, and I'm sure you can attest that. I'm sure you work with people that changed you at some point.
Sure,
for the better.
I think that's the beauty of like when not every creative gets that chance to have a creative director like that. like it's hard to come across them. I have like 3: Ty Hayward, Mike Seiko, and like Joe Reynoso. Those 3 CDs right there, bro. Like savage. Like like I came into this shit thinking I was hot shit, low key. They were like, sit your ass down. I was like, right, check. Okay, cool. Put me on so much game, bro.
That's so funny, man. But I know what you mean. But it's like, and you don't, and it's like they could probably be tough on you at times. I think they would each tough on me at times, but I understand why they were, and I welcome it, man. Like
I was like, say something else. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
We're gonna disagree. We're gonna battle it out. But that's how the beautiful work comes across, you know. And then like right before I left, I had a chance to work with one of my biggest inspirations, the guy Kimu Meyer. He used to run his own company, Double Day and Cartwright. Maybe you've heard of those guys. But he came in sort of towards the end. But he had been somebody whose work I admired for a long time, and then I actually got a chance to work with him. That's we became really good friends, and we learned a lot of things from each other. That's those guys weren't on a high horse to the point where they felt like they can't learn anything from you either. Like they always would tell me like, man, I'm learning as much from you as you're learning from me. And because we were like-minded individuals, we would all like trade that energy back and forth. And I think that's why like they're some of the people that I respect the most, like out in the world, just because of the way that they do things. And some of them have families and have to juggle their things like yourself. They have to juggle what they're doing with their families, and just individually they're all savage.
Right.
They're working solid. Like you can't respect somebody if you don't respect their work.
It's that's real, bro.
Guys can be like, this is what I've done. And you're like,
right. You're like, okay, bet for sure, run it. Right. So, it's so real, bro. I think that's why that's one reason why I love this podcast is one, I just love learning new things. I've never listened to podcasts, never done a podcast, and I was like, you know what? I'm starting a podcast. Fuck it.
and that's a beautiful thing. And yours is really good, because I went through and listened.
Man, thank you.
I went through and watched all of the other ones just to kind of get a sense of like. And I was like, I like what you're doing because for one, it's sort of raw and conversational. And I think what you want to take away from it is you want to help that next generation of creatives that are out there hear and see from people who they can relate to and sort of aspire to and be like, hey, man, I can do that. And it's
and like people and creators that look like them too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not one face. It's everybody. Women, men, black, white, gay, lesbian, like everybody. Like I just want to support everybody because I know for me, I never knew about advertisement my entire time growing up. But I always wanted to be a director. I always wanted to shoot music videos and commercials. And I thought, I just get a camera.
And then
right now, bro.
Well, like one of them. I'm sure you got many, but who's
I mean, like obviously, like there's like the classic music video Hype Williams, like
yeah.
Like that's when like back in the day, but right now, like I feel like Karina Evans, she's fire. She's killing the game.
I gotta check her out. I don't think I know.
Yeah. So she's the one that did like basically all of Drake's videos. Kind of more recent, but little older ones.
Okay, so I might know her work. I just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's like she's like the first one that comes to mind because I was just watching her stuff recently, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I think that's the one thing too is like for me, I want to get better at learning more creatives because like for me, I don't care about anybody else but like the art.
Yeah.
And it's like that question of who my favorite director is. I'm like, oh shit, who is my favorite director? I have so many visual references,
right?
But I don't ever take that time to put the face to the name because I'm like, oh my god, that I'm inspired. Okay, this idea came out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, that's like I said, like that's one thing that I'm learning as I'm growing as a creative. Is it's important to know who's in your industry.
It is very,
it
is very, and not just and not just like the thing that you do specifically,
right?
But like to know writers, to know videographers, to know DPs, to know you got to know a lot of people and be abreast of who's doing what, stylists. You know what I mean? Set
There's
designers,
all that.
everything.
It's so real, and like I feel like I could ask you, who's your favorite designer?
That would be of all time or just right now? Because
but that's my point. Is that you have you know what I'm saying?
Oh, there's a
the
lot
fact
of
that you even questioned it of like of all time, or you know what I'm saying? Like that's the point I want to get to is as a creative is that I'm so involved in it. I'm so in it that I live and breathe it. Like I live and breathe it already, but I feel like being a young parent set that back for me in a way because I couldn't just be me, my art. It had to become, how do I provide for my family, my kids, as you can hear them in the back.
Absolutely. I mean, you had to prioritize.
You know,
it's good that you did that.
Yeah, baby steps. It's growth.
Hey, but the good thing is you stuck with it. You know what I mean? Like you didn't say, well, I guess I just got to be a dad now. Like you're still pushing. The envelope is still trying to do other things and explore and experiment. You know, I mean, the podcast again is like one good example, but I'm sure there's like a million other things you're doing outside of that as well. So it's really just about sticking to it, right? Like having and sticking with it, man.
That's the main thing. I think I wanna ask you just kind of like sort of wrap up soon.
Yeah.
I love asking this question because there's so many different answers. Is if you could time travel and ask your older and tell your older self something, what would it be? Wait, sorry. Tell your younger self. My bad.
Yeah, right. I figured you were saying if I could tell my younger self something, I would say
advice or whatever for.
Oh man, that's tough. It's interesting because when I was younger, I kind of always found time to just practice my craft. When like I decided, today I'm not gonna go outside. Today I'm gonna stay in and draw, or today I'm gonna work on charcoal or pastel. So I always had a good work ethic. So it wouldn't be work ethic related. You know what? I would say honestly, I don't know. I think if I went back, I would say, oh, yeah, this is gonna be weird because it doesn't have anything to do with what I do now. If I could go back and tell myself something, I would say you should have stuck with playing the trumpet and you should have not stopped playing your musical instrument.
Ooh.
Like if I would have continued to play my musical instrument, that would have been another creative outlet that I let that go at a young age to focus on sports and everything else I was doing. But I would say like stick with your musical instrument for sure.
Dang.
That's one thing. But if it was something like more inspired, I think it's more like loose, I would say one thing. Oh, I would say this. One thing that I didn't do enough of.
Hit them with it.
Explore all forms of art on your own time, not just when you're asked. Perfect example. I wish, and what I mean by that is maybe explore more with sculpture. Maybe explore more with paint. Right. Maybe explore more with things that you wouldn't have to do in school because you were told to do, but explore those things more before you get locked into one particular thing. I would tell myself that because, back then it was the same thing. It was color pencils and drawing and, but what about like getting out there and really trying to get experimental with some things? Work on a collage on your own time when you're young coming up. You know what I'm saying? These are things I would never do at home. You don't even do it. So it's just like, explore every form of art at a young age, so you can be more well-rounded when you get older and try to pursue.
So real, bro. That just sparks more ideas to talk about, but we do have to wrap up. But like, I just like we're gonna have to do like a second one down the road, bro.
I'm down, man. Because I got some questions for you too, man. So I got
bro.
Questions but this is our first time speaking, so
exactly, bro. Like I appreciate you for this, but let's wrap up with the round of speed questions if you're down.
Okay. All
right.
I'm in.
Favorite time of day?
Early morning.
Pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
Sharks or whales?
Whales.
Who would you have dinner with, dead or alive?
Oh man. Right. That's almost too tough. Emory Douglas, because he's one of my favorite illustrators.
What's your favorite genre of music?
Soul music Ooh. From the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
And Brazilian jazz from the 70s and 80s.
I gotta check that out. I don't think I've ever even heard that.
Oh, really good stuff. I'll send you some stuff.
Please look it up, bro. Send me them links, dog.
Absolutely.
Would you rather be blind or deaf?
Deaf.
Weed or coffee?
If you would have asked me that a year ago, I would have said weed. You asked me today, so I'm gonna say coffee. I'm gonna say coffee. Oh, can I say tea?
Oh, tea. Okay, yes. We'll put comma T. We'll put comma T.
Okay, comma T. I'm about that loose leaf life. Go ahead.
Okay, my guy. Music or design?
Ooh.
Right.
Ooh, that's tough. You know what? This is going to surprise you. Music, because the music a lot of times is what leads me into design. Like, okay. How many times have you had to press play before you do anything?
Every time. I haven't. That's real, bro. Dang.
There you go.
Dang, because then you can just tell your idea, your vision to somebody else. Strategy.
There you go.
Favorite season of the year?
Spring.
Thanksgiving or Easter?
Thanksgiving.
What's one place you want to visit?
That I haven't yet?
Yeah.
Where have I not been that I want to go? Let's say China. Yeah, China. I've done Japan. I haven't done China. I want to do China.
Hell yeah, dude. If you were given $5,000 right now, what would you do with that money?
Put it in the bank.
My guy.
I would put it in the bank.
Smart man. See, bro.
I mean, but I'm answering that question as in today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's what I'm doing. We're living in a world where you don't know what's next. Put that money away. You don't know when you might need it.
That's real, bro.
I'm not spending no frivolous spending these days, man.
That's real, bro. Water or Gatorade?
Water.
Meat or vegetables?
I'm a carnivore, man. Wow. I'm gonna go with meat. A good Kobe beef steak. I'm all about that.
Oof, dangerous, bro.
But I love me some vegetables too. But I'm gonna go meat.
the final question: Poppy and Friends podcast or Poppy and Friends podcast?
Poppy and Friends podcast.
Pew!
2 times.
Yes.
2 times, man. 2
yes.
times. Thanks
bro.
For having me, man.
Thank you so much for hopping on this.
It's been amazing, dude. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Woo! Episode is done.
Yes, and enjoy your weekend.
Likewise. Well,